So, dear students, I welcome you all in this analog and digital communication lab where we will be demonstrating experiment number 7 and 8 today. That is your amplitude shift keying and frequency shift keying. So, these are the experiments related to digital communication techniques. And all of you have studied pulse modulation technique and then pulse code modulation in your theory subject as well as in the lab also. So you are aware of the basic concept of digital communication. So I hope you will be further able to clarify your concepts related to digital communication in today's experiments related to ASK and FSK. So now I request Ankita to take over and start with experiment number 7, that is amplitude shift keying. Yeah, over to you, Ankita.
So, hello and welcome all of you in this class of analog and digital communication virtual laboratory. In the previous classes, we have learned about 6 experiments already and have seen their video demonstrations as well. So now we will move forward to learn about further 2 experiments. Experiment number 7 and 8, which is about amplitude shift keying and frequency shift keying. As sir already told you that these 2 experiments are related to the digital modulation scheme. So to learn about what is ASK, what is FSK, we have to first learn about what is a digital modulation scheme. And we have learned till now analog modulation scheme and the pulse modulation scheme. Now we have to switch over the digital modulation schemes and learn about the few basic terms here. So here I have make a slide on digital modulation. So what is a digital modulation? Digital modulation scheme, it is concerned with the transmission of the digital data. Earlier in the analog modulation, our information signal was in the form of analog, or it was in the continuous form. Various continuous values were present in our information signal, and it was modulated with the analog carrier signal and transmitted over wireless communication channel. And further, we have learned about the pulse modulation scheme. In the pulse modulation scheme, again, the information signal was analogous in nature, and the carrier was in the form of discrete pulses. But in the digital modulation scheme, our digital data, transmission data, and the information data will be in the digital form. A digital form is discrete form, or in the form of the number of several bits. Carrier signal will be analog in nature here. In the pulse modulation scheme, carrier was in the pulse form. There, here in the analog modulation and digital modulation, carrier signal will be in the form of the analog signal. The demodulation or the detection as an ADC and DAC are required here. In earlier, the information signal was analog in nature, so no need to use these 2 devices. But to convert our information signal into the digital form, we have to use analog to digital conversion and at the transmission side, and digital to analog conversion circuitry at the receiver side. So why to switch over digital modulation? There are several reasons why we have to perform first analog to digital conversion at the transmitting side, digital to analog conversion at the receiving side. What is the reason for that? There are many points which makes a digital modulation much better than the analog modulation, like in the advantage. First point is immune to noise. In the digital modulation, our information signal is in the form of number of bits. So bits means either 1 or 0. So there are only 2 levels present. So the effect of the noise will be very less as compared to the analog transmission where infinite number of values were present. Long distance transmission. So here in the digital modulation scheme, As the noise effect is very low, so high quality high quality signal can be obtained at the receiving side, receiving side to large distances. Multiplexing is possible. For the digital modulation scheme, various slots or various frequencies can be combined and transmitted over a single frequency. Uh, Time division multiplexing you have learned in the PCM, where the different time slots were present, and two signals can be transmitted over a one single time frame. That means multiplexing is allowed in the digital modulation. Inexpensive modulation circuitry to handle the number of bits is easily as compared to the analog signals. Regeneration allows for the long distance transmission. Regeneration is possible here because the number of bit generation is comparatively easier. So we can regenerate the signal at some distance and then further transmit for the high quality transmission. Highly secure transmission, as bits are transmitted here, so data can be encrypted. You have you have already learned about encryption. You have heard about the encryption term nowadays. What is that? That is the secure bit sequences, and support simultaneous transmission of the voice signal, video signal, and the high data rate signal. So these are were the advantages which allows us to switch to the digital modulation scheme. And here some disadvantage modulation. First of all, large bandwidth is required, as one sample of the data contains a many number of the bits. So one sample to transmit one sample of the data, large number of the bits means high frequency transmission. High frequency means a large bandwidth requirement. And second point is need of additional ADC and DSC circuitry. And third point is quantization error. Quantization error, that means we have a set of a sampled value, that continuous value to some discrete levels in the quantization process, that was after sampling. Sampled signal is quantized, and the discrete levels are allowed for the sampled values. Then the difference in exact value and the quantized value is called quantization error. So this makes our signal less accurate. So what are the types of digital modulation techniques? Analogous in the analog modulation scheme, we have learned about three schemes. We can change our carrier amplitude, change our carrier frequency, and change phase as well. Similarly, in this digital modulation technique, these three characteristics of the carrier will be changed in accordance with our message signal, which will be in the form of discrete states. There are three modulation schemes which are termed as ASK, FSK, PSK. ASK means amplitude shift keying, FSK means frequency shift keying, and PSK means phase shift keying. So in the ASK, the amplitude of the carrier signal will be varied in proportion to our digital information signal or our bit sequences. And in FSK, frequency of the carrier signal will be varied, and whereas in PSK, the phase of the carrier signal will be varied. So these are the waveforms which will clear the concepts how amplitude will be varied and frequency of phase will be varied. So first is our baseband signal. Baseband signal is the information signal which will be in the discrete form. Digital form is in the form of bit sequences, either 0 or 1. So 0 or 1 signal will be transmitted through the ASK. In these 0 and 1 bit sequence will be allowed to change the characteristics of the carrier, the amplitude, frequency, or the phase. How if we change the amplitude of the carrier, as you can see in the second diagram, it will be OOK. OOK is the ASK, other name for ASK, and when the 0 bit is present, when the 0 bit has to be transmitted, no carrier is present here. When the 1 bit is has to be transmitted, carrier will be allowed to transmit here. Again, for the 0 bit, no carrier will be transmitted, and for the 1 bit, carrier will be transmitted. Again, in the FSK signal, for the 0 bit, different frequency will be transmitted. For the 1 bit, different frequency. Different either high or low. For 1 bit here, high frequency is transmitted, and for 0 bit, low frequency will be transmitted. And in the BPSK signal, first signal is of 0. When we have to transmit our carrier 1 bit, carrier signal will be transmitted as it is, and we have to when we have to transmit a 0 bit, our carrier signal will be transmitted in by 180-degree phase shift. These three, all diagrams are for the binary digital modulation schemes. Binary digital modulation schemes means either 0 or 1. No combination of bits 0, 0, 0, 1 or 3 bits combination are allowed. These are only either 0 or 1 for one sample signal. So now we will move forward to our experiment number 7, which is about ASK modulation and demodulation scheme. What is ASK? We have learned already. I will show you again here. Here the amplitude of the analog carrier signal is varied with the change in digital data. When the digital data is changed from 1 to 0, 0 to 1, the amplitude of the carrier will be varied. So whenever the data bit is 0, the transmitter outputs the carrier. The transmitter outputs the carrier for bit sequence 1 and totally suppresses the carrier for 0. Our data will be in the form 1 or 0. The transmit whenever data bit is 1, the carrier signal is transmitted. Whenever data bit signal is 0, carrier signal is absent. So for these two bits are termed as 1. So the carrier signal will be transmitted for the 2 bits. And again 0, again the carrier signal is omitted. So mathematically, we can say that our ASK signal generated will be A cos of 2 pi fct. That means our carrier signal as it is for the binary 1 and 0 for the binary 0. This technique is also known as on-off keying. On-off keying, OOK. OOK means on for 1, off for 0. On for 1 and off for 0. So on-off keying is also another name of binary ASK scheme. So how to implement binary ASK? What we have to transmit? Carrier signal for as it is for the bit sequence 1, and we have to remove the carrier signal for the 0. So this seems to be like a multiplier. So when the bit sequence is 1, we have to multiply the carrier signal with it. Then the carrier signal will be same as it at the output. When we multiply something with 0, what we get at the output? Nothing. So we will multiply the 0 bit with the carrier signal, and at the output side we will get nothing or no signal at the output. And when we will multiply something with 1, the same as it is signal will be resulted in the output side. So first of all, in the diagram you can see this is the binary data sequence, and second term is written here, data waveform UPNRZ. UPNRZ means unipolar non-return to 0 value. That means the 1010 is cannot be transmitted directly. This is the logic of our signal. So we have to convert it into electrical signals levels. We have to provide the voltage for the 1 or 0. So this is non-return to 0 means for the entire duration, same bit sequence, same voltage will be provided for that bit sequence. So unipolar means one for the 1 higher voltage, for the 0 0 voltage. That means only when it will return a BP, and that means bipolar, that means 1 volt or either some positive value for the binary sequence 1 or bit sequence 1, and for the 0 transmission it will be converted into a negative voltage. So unipolar and bipolar have the differences. Unipolar means with reference to ground, and for the 0 volt will be present. For the bipolar, some negative voltage will be present. So unipolar NRZ sequence or encoding is used here to convert the our bit sequences into the electrical form. For the one, higher voltage is allowed to pass, and for the 0 volt is taken here. So when we multiply this bit sequence with our carrier signal, we will get our ASK signal waveform. So for the one, carrier signal is presented at the output. For the 0, nothing will be present. So on the right side, the circuitry of the binary ASK transmission is shown. We have to take a multiplier, and the best multiplier in the modulation scheme is the balance modulator, which can multiply the two signals. So first, binary digital data as an information signal, carrier as an analog signal as an carrier signal will be uh, given as an input to this multiplier, or we can say balance modulator. And what we will achieve here, ASK signal output. This signal is after encoding that I shown here, and I've said encoding. Binary signals are line encoded. This conversion of the binary sequence into the electrical form is termed as line encoding. So our line encoded signal will be provided to the balance modulator. So now we have generated our ASK signal. So how to demodulate ASK, amplitude shift keying signal, to get our digital sequence back at the output or at the receiving side. There are two methodology for the detection: non-coherent or coherent. Uh, Non-coherent detection means we have to provide a carrier signal at the receiving side so that it can be used to, sorry, non-coherent signal means we have to provide a carrier signal with our received signal to demodulate the output and get the information signal back. But in the non-coherent, we don't use a carrier signal. Don't need any carrier signal. Just we apply our received signal to the circuitry and we will get our signal back. Obviously, coherent signal will be highly accurate as compared to the non-coherent signal. So here is the principle of non-coherent binary ASK detection. I have already termed that we will learn about the binary schemes here, binary ASK and binary FSK here. Binary means just two level, either 1 or 0. So modulated ASK signal will be provided to a rectifier. Rectifier will provide rectifier will rectify the signal for the positive sides, and we will then transmit to the this signal to the low pass filter, which will allow only low frequencies to pass. Carrier is of high frequency. For entire duration of the carrier, this low frequency signal will be passed, and then comparator. Comparator will be used to compare this with the fixed value, which is termed as the threshold value. Threshold value will decide whether this bit sequence is either 1 or 0. If the signal is above threshold value, then the sequence will be considered as a 1. And if the signal is below threshold value, the signal level will be considered as a bit 0. Now in the coherent binary ASK detection, carrier wave will be used for the coherent detection. So first ASK signal which will be received from the antenna will be given to the balance modulator along with our carrier signal. It will multiply both them and then transmit it to an integrator. Integrator is the another name of low pass filter. So low pass filter or integrator will be same here. So low pass filter will allow to transmit only low frequencies, or it will integrate the signal and just transmit low frequencies, and then what will we get? We get the amplitude of the carrier signal, amplitude of the transmitted signal, and which will be compared with the threshold signal, and then which will be used to decide about where the bit sequence is 1 or 0. So now here is the video demonstration of the ASK modulation and demodulation scheme using breadboard. For the ASK demodulation, here we will use non-coherent detection. Non-coherent detection, in the non-coherent detection, first we rectifier is used, which is generated using a diode, and then low pass filter, which will be used using an RC circuitry, and then a comparator. Comparator will be used here from using an op-amp IC, op-amp or operational amplifier.
The aim is to generate ASK signal and to detect the information signal from it. First, let us see what is amplitude shift keying. Amplitude shift keying is a form of digital modulation that represents digital data as variations in the amplitude of a carrier wave. Here this is a message signal and this is a carrier signal. Here I am representing the message signal in terms of variations in amplitude of the carrier wave. For example, here for binary logic 1, I am getting a absence of carrier wave, and for logic 0, there is a presence of carrier wave. In this way, we are transmitting the message signal into a amplitude shift keying version of the waveform. And this is a circuit for a ASK modulator. Here I need a component SL100. To the base of the SL100, I am supplying a input wave that is in the form of square wave with 10 volt peak to peak and 200 hertz frequency. And to the collector, I am connecting a carrier signal that is in the form of sine wave with 2 volt peak to peak and 2 kilohertz. And emitter is grounded, and at the collector I am getting a ASK output. Let us see the operation. Here the input connected to the SL100 drives the SL100 into cutoff and saturation region alternatively. When here the transistor will go to on and off status continuously. When the transistor is on, the circuit will be short circuited and the input coming over here will be grounded. So there is a zero output at the ASK output side.
Trial version.
And whenever the transistor is turned off, this will become open circuited and we will be
Trial
getting
version.
the output at the ASK output side. We can examine those things in a graph. You can observe the thing, that is whenever the transistor is on, we are getting the absence of a carrier wave. Whenever the transistor is switched off, we are getting a presence of carrier wave. For the ASK modulation, and this side, this is for ASK demodulation. Now, this is a carrier wave which I have given at the collector side of the SL100. And this is the square wave which I have given at the base of the SL100. Now we should get a ASK output at the collector of the transistor. And this is the ASK output coming from the collector. We can see the input and output at a time and we can analyze the operation. This is a ASK demodulator to get back the message signal. And as you seen in the circuit diagram, this contains envelope detector and comparator. Whenever the anode of the diode is higher than the cathode, the capacitor starts charging and some of the output will be appear at the pin number 2 of the op-amp. Since this is an inverting op-amp, we will be getting a logic 0 at the output terminal of the comparator. And whenever the anode voltage is less than the cathode voltage, the capacitor and resistors are connected to ground, therefore, and there will be a 0 output at the pin number 2 of the op-amp. Since it is an inverting amplifier, we will be getting logic 1 at the pin number 6 of the op-amp. So therefore the output will be like this. Whenever the anode is positive, whenever the anode is positive than the cathode, that is at this particular signal, I am getting logic 0 at the pin number 6. Whenever the anode is less than the cathode, that is at this particular duration, I am getting a logic 1 at the output of the comparator. So this is how the ASK demodulator works, and we are getting a expected message signal at the output. We can see that in a CRO. To get the demodulated output, I should connect the CRO probe to the pin number 6 of the IC. And this is the demodulated output, which was same as the message signal. Therefore, this is how the ASK modulator and demodulator work.
So this was about the amplitude shift keying experiment, which have used as a transmitter as a switch or as a multiplier to multiply the signals, and then the receiver non-polling detection was used. Now we will move further for our experiment number 8, which is about the FSK modulation and DSK, so demodulation scheme. For the FSK modulation, in the FM, what we have done, we have increased or decreased the frequency according to our amplitude variations in the message signal. The amplitude of the message signal was increasing, then the frequency of the carrier signal was increased there. And if the amplitude of the message signal was decreased, then the frequency of the carrier signal was decreased at that moment. So, but same process will be followed here. Here, our data information signal is in the form of the data sequence, or only 2 levels. So just 2 frequencies will be used. Two shifting, either will carrier will be shifted to a high frequency at a fixed level or the low frequency at a fixed level. So carrier frequency will be analog in nature. For our data transmission 1, carrier will be transmitted to a higher frequency because our amplitude goes to a higher level. Now, when amplitude decreases to 0 shifting, the carrier frequency will be decreased. Similarly, for 1, increased or decreased, the shifting or the frequency deviation will be fixed here because 2 levels are present. How much deviation is provided for the bit level 1? Same deviation will be in the negative form for the bit sequence 0. So, if we learn that the frequency of the carrier signal is varied in accordance with the distant bit levels. Whenever the data bit is 0, the transmitter outputs the high frequency, and for 1, the transmitter outputs the high frequency carrier for the data bit sequence 1 and the low frequency carrier for the bit sequence 0. The carrier frequency is shifted in the steps, in the form of steps, that is from one frequency to another. Either high frequency to low frequency to high frequency, which will be a fixed value in nature. So we can term in the mathematically BFSK signal. Again, BFSK is the term for binary FSK signal. We can term this that for the binary bit sequence 1, F1 or FH or high frequency carrier signal will be transmitted, and the following is 0 bit sequence, low frequency carrier signal will be transmitted. So here is the binary FSK implementation. How to implement the binary FSK modulation scheme. We have seen in the previous diagram that the frequency is deviated either to high level or the low level according to a bit sequence is either 1 or 0 respectively. But here if we are using only 2 levels of the carrier. So with the deviation in the frequency is not as easy as compared to 2 frequency transmission. And that means we will take one frequency and deviate it to higher level or lower level according to amplitude of our information signal. We can choose 2 frequency signals and then modulate it according to 1 or 0 bit. This process is much easier as compared to deviate our frequency to the higher and lower frequency. So again, a different diagram is shown here. Here the message signal is in the form of bit sequence. Again, carrier signal, 2 carrier signals are shown. carrier signal F1, carrier signal F0. F1 is a higher frequency, much higher the frequency of the carrier signal F1 is much higher as compared to F0. That means for the binary 1 transmission, we have to transmit carrier frequency signal F1, carrier signal of frequency F1. For the 0 transmission, we will transmit carrier signal of frequency F0. This will solve our problem as same output will be detected as that of frequency deviated FSK signal. So how to implement this concept? We have binary data which will be encoded or line encoded, and it will be provided to first just similar to ASK. For the binary 1 transmission, we have to transmit carrier signal of the frequency F1, and for the binary 0, the carrier signal frequency the carrier signal frequency F1 will be absent. So presence and absence of the signal or on of keying is just similar to the ASK signal. So for ASK, what we have used? We have used a multiplier, or we can say balance modulator. So same sequence will be provided to the balance modulator, and the carrier signal and same sequence will be provided to the balance modulator 1 at the upper side. And what we will get the first high frequency signal for the binary 1 and nothing at the output of binary 0. And here an inverter is shown. What is the work of that? Now we have to transmit second carrier as it is for the binary 0 and nothing for the binary 1. So we will invert these bit sequence. That means this bit sequence 0 becomes 1 for this carrier and 0 for this carrier, and 0 this becomes 0 for this carrier frequency FL or lower carrier frequency signal. So what this means? This means that for the binary 0, exact binary 0 signal, the low frequency carrier signal, this will be act as a 1 for our low frequency carrier signal, and it will transmit as it is this frequency signal. And for this binary 1, nothing will be present at the output of this balance modulator. So if we add these two outputs, we will get an FSK signal as shown in this diagram. Because for the binary 1, high frequency signal is transmitted and low frequency signal was omitted. For binary 0, low frequency signal was transmitted and high frequency was omitted. So after combining them, we will get this waveform. So now we have generated FSK modulation, FSK signal, frequency shift keying modulated signal. So how to capture the digital transmitted signal from this modulated signal at the receiving side? It will be done using the two methodologies, either non-coherent or coherent. Non-coherent binary FSK detection will involve bandpass filter. What is the use of bandpass filter? It will it will have the bandpass filter will allow the particular band of the high frequencies to pass, and the lower bandpass filter will allow to lower band of frequencies to pass. That means FH will be allowed to pass only through filter 2, and the FL will be passed on through the bandpass filter 1. So for same ASK signal, we will get at the output of the bandpass signal, and the envelope detection will be done. For the ASK detection, envelope detection is used. The same ASK envelope detection will be done at the further, and then the comparator will be used, which will allow us to compare the signal higher or lower, and then we will get the digital signal back. For coherent binary FSK detection, what we need carrier at the output. For the coherent signal, we use carrier. We have to generate carrier at the receiving side. So this will be this bandpass binary FSK signal, which will be received from the antenna, will be transmitted to the two balance modulators with which have the different carrier frequencies, and then integrator, or we can say low pass filter, will be allowed to pass, and a subtractor or comparator. comparator will be allowed will compare both values, and then the decision device will further decide about whether bit sequence is 1 or bit sequence is 0. So now using breadboard, we will learn about the FSK modulation and demodulation scheme.
Frequency shift keying. First we'll see the modulator part. Now this is the circuit diagram of the frequency shift keying modulator. Here the input signal is the digital signal, which is represented by the square wave. It is given to the base of the two transistors. Here two transistors will select, one is SL100 and another is SK100 transistor, the collector of which is given to two signals, sine wave signals of different frequency. One is 1 kilohertz signal, another one is 2 kilohertz signal. Now we'll see what happens during the positive half cycle of the input signal and negative half cycle of the input signal. First, I'll consider the positive half cycle of the input signal. Now, during the positive half cycle, SL100 is on, SK100 is off. When SL100 is on, it acts as in short circuit, and the signal that is 1 kilohertz sine wave, it will pass through the transistor to the ground. At the same time, SK100 is off, therefore this is an open circuit. The signal which is given to the collector of SK100, that is 2 kilohertz, will move through the 10 kilo ohm resistor to the inverting input of the op-amp. During the negative half cycle of the input signal, SL100 is off and SK100 is on. When SK100 is on, the signal 2 kilohertz will pass through the SK100 to the ground. Whereas SL100 is off during this period, therefore the signal 1 kilohertz will pass through 10 kilo ohm resistor to the inverting input of the op-amp. At the inverting input of the op-amp, you have two signals. During one period, I have 1 kilohertz signal. During the other period, you have 2 kilohertz signal. So this is an inverting summing amplifier. It will add the two input signal here with the gain given by the feedback resistor 10K. We'll get the FSK signal at the output. Now we'll see the circuit diagram using the breadboard here. Here we have two transistors which is connected here. I have given one signal, that is the input signal square wave, which we can see in the blue color. That is the input signal which has in frequency 386 Hertz, that is a square wave signal. Another input is given from the function generator which has in frequency 2.8 kilohertz, and another signal is given from the function generator which has in frequency 1.07 kilohertz. This is the input signal, that is square wave. This is a FC1, that is 1 kilohertz signal. We'll see the input signal with the low frequency, that is input signal square wave, low frequency signal. We'll see at the collector of one transistor. We can see during the positive half cycle, the signal is passed. During the negative half cycle, you don't get any signal. This is at the other transistor, that is during the negative half cycle, low frequency signal is passed. During the positive half cycle, you will not get any signal. So at the output of the op-amp, we have to get the FSK signal. So you can see that during the positive half cycle, high frequency signal is transmitted. During the negative half cycle, low frequency signal is transmitted. So during the positive and negative half cycle of the input signal, during one period, high frequency signal is transmitted. During another period, low frequency signal is transmitted. This is nothing but the frequency shift keying. Now we'll see the FSK demodulator circuit. Here you have three parts in an FSK demodulator circuit. First one is a subtractor, followed by an envelope detector, followed by an comparator. Now we know that subtractor means it will subtract the two input signals which is given to this particular circuit. Now here I'll give an FSK signal to the inverting input and a carrier signal. Any carrier signal can be selected, 1 kilohertz or 2 kilohertz. Any one carrier signal is given to the inverting terminal of the op-amp. Now when these two signals are equal, because it is a subtractor, it will cancel the signal, and at that particular point output will be 0. Similarly, when the two signals are different, then it will be When it is subtracted, it will add up, the two signals will add up and I'll get a sine wave at the output. So what happens during one part of the signal, the two signals gets cancelled, it is 0. During the other part of the signal, the two signals gets added up, so I'll get one signal. So it is nothing but an ASK signal which I get at the output of the subtractor, which is followed by an envelope detector. When the ASK signal is given to the envelope detector, during the positive half cycle, that is one half of the ASK signal, your diode is on. When the diode is on, your capacitor will charge to the maximum amplitude of that ASK signal. Now when the anode of the diode is less than the cathode, the diode is off. That is when the ASK signal starts to decrease, the diode is off. During that period, your capacitor starts to discharge through the resistor to the ground. In that way, during the ASK signal, there is charging and discharging of the capacitor. But during the zero value of the ASK signal, that is during the next period of the ASK signal, the diode is off and no signal will pass through the diode, so we'll get 0 at the output. So at the output of the envelope detector, you have charging and discharging of the capacitor during one period of the signal. In the other period of the signal, it will be 0. Now this is given to the comparator. In the comparator circuit, we'll select a reference value, that is a threshold value is set, and it will compare with the input signal. Depending upon the value, whether it is high from the reference signal, I'll get positive at the output. During the zero value of the signal, I'll not get any signal and I'll get 0 at the output. Therefore, at the output of the comparator, it will compare with the charging and discharging of the capacitor and I'll get a square wave at the output. So you can see at the output here in the CRO, blue represents the input signal. With some delay, I'm getting the output signal that is represented by yellow line here. So I have the two square wave signal with the same frequency, but with a certain delay because it is passed through a demodulator circuit. Now we'll see the output at the envelope detector. We can see the charging and discharging of the capacitor. We can see the charging and discharging of the capacitor here. During the one half cycle, I have charging and discharging. During the next, we don't have much signal here. Again, during the next cycle, there is a charging and discharging of the capacitor. So this gives the demodulation circuit.
So this was the experiment which was performed on the breadboards. To further clarify about the concepts of ASK and FSK, here is the video demonstration using a trainer board as well, which will further clarify your concepts.
Hello students, welcome to another lab of digital communication. Previously we have performed various quantization coding technique like delta modulation, differential pulse code modulation, DPCM. This technique basically was used to convert analog information in digital domain. So in digital domain we have information in the form of bit pattern, 1-0 form. And now our job is to finally take these 1-0 form of the information and pass through the channel. For this purpose, we have various modulation schemes in passband, and these modulation techniques are known as a few of them are known as ASK modulator, FSK modulator, and binary PSK modulator. We have differential BPSK modulator. So today our job is, amongst all them, our job is to perform ASK modulator, binary PSK modulator, and FSK modulator. So these are the passband technique. Since the information finally sent in the form of analog signal, so therefore the information is coming and we are going to modulate this information with sinusoidal signal. Now here we can generate the pseudo information. This is 8-bit data. We can choose 16, 32-bit and 64-bit information. Means a single PAM amplitude sample can have 8-bit data or 16-bit or 32-bit and 64-bit. And in this particular kit, this number of bits are fixed. If 8-bit, we choose the 8-bit data. then the pattern is 10110011. If we choose 16 bit, then 0100 110 110 110011. Similarly 32 and 60 bit, 64 bit information is coming. This is the pseudo information. And now what will be the duration of each bit will be decided by this data clock. And we can see here this change. Suppose this is the data clock, we are keeping at 2 kilohertz, and we are here the data is 8 bit, and suppose this is the data clock in yellow line. In yellow line we have data clock, and after combining with the data, suppose 8 bit data, the output is like this in blue line. So now every bit duration is governed by the data clock. Okay, so an 8 bit data we have, because we have 1010. Here we can see 1100 1100 10 and 10. So it will repeat. So we have 8 bit data and modulated with the data clock, and finally we have this information for the passband modulation schemes. Now ASK modulation. In ASK modulation, mathematically we have this relationship. VSK means modulated signal is equal to 1 plus VM. This is the master signal bit information. This can be 1 or 0. Actually here logic 1 is plus 1 volt, and when the logic is 0, then we are choosing minus 1 volt. So when we keep plus 1, this 2 and 2 will be cut out, and only we have A cos omega CT. So A by 2 cos, this kit actually using A by 2 cos omega CT signal, and quadrature is sin omega CT. So this is the signal we have, analog signal, and this is the bit information which will govern the amplitude of the signal. So that's why it is known as amplitude shift keying, and this is also known as on off keying. So when the bit is 1, 1 plus 1 2, 2 2 cancel out, we have only cos omega CT, and when bit is 0, logic 0, then we keep here minus 1 volt, minus 1 cancel out, and VSK is equal to 0. So this is the process. This equation is running on this kit, and our block diagram is data generator as here, and 1 bit coding. We have done a 1 bit coding. After that, this information we will multiply it with the sinusoidal signal, and finally we have ASK output. And similarly in the demodulator side, we again multiplied with the sin omega CT, and then we low pass the signal. Why we low pass? Because our information is actually at the low pass side of the frequency band. So this is the integrator. This is the integrator which is used to low pass the signal, and after that we have threshold comparator. This comparator will decide the bit is whether 0 or 1. So this is the comparator. So this is the whole modulator and demodulator diagram of ASK. Mathematically at the receiver side, you already studied. You have studied that ST is AC is the amplitude, cos omega CT is the carrier, and PTBT is the pulse. This is the pulse. So at the receiver, E0 for PT equal to 0, obviously it will 0, and for PT equal to 1, E1 will be, this is the integrator. So this is the integration for a bit duration TB, and we will multiply after integrating for the bit duration TB. We have this amplitude. So by this way, this mathematical equation is realized on this kit, that is ASK demodulator. And finally we by using the comparator we decide the threshold value, and this maybe this threshold value is equal to k is any parameter which be equal to k E1 minus E0 by 2. So this is threshold value, this is the threshold value. So by this way we can perform modulation and demodulation technique. Now we can see the modulated output of ASK and demodulated output of ASK. This is the power cords and this is the data generator, and if we change the data clock you can see here the bit duration is compressed. Similarly for 8 kilohertz, for 16 kilohertz we can find the different changes in the bit duration. For 2 kilohertz, 4 kilohertz, 8 kilohertz and 16 kilohertz. And for 2 kilohertz we can also change the data 8 bit, 16 bit, 32 bit and 64 bit. Now we have the information after 1 bit coding. Suppose we have this data bit information 1010 form, and after modulating with sin omega ct the output of the ASK modulator is this. Here we can still it. So here we can see the modulated output. Now for 4 kilohertz if we change the data clock, this is this. For 8 kilohertz this is the modulated output. For 16 kilohertz this is the modulated output. Okay, so by this way we can perform the modulation. Similarly for demodulation, after at the TP7 we can see the signal after multiplying with the sin omega ct, and after that after using integration we have this low pass output where the data is 8 bit and data clock is at the 2 kilohertz. So this is the low pass output, and after that the final output after the comparator is this. This is the demodulated output. So this is the whole ASK modulator in which data assuming data is coming, the pseudo data is coming, and after get multiplied with the sin omega ct we have ASK output. This signal is provided to the demodulator and it will again multiplied with the sin omega ct, then pass through the low pass filter and comparator. We have the finally demodulated output. Our last experiment is FSK modulator. Again the data is same. In FSK modulator for bit we have a different, for bit 1 voltage 1 we have a different frequency, or for bit duration for 0 bit we have a different frequency. So actually in FSK the frequency of the carrier signal is changed as per the bit. So this is the FSK modulator and this is the equation. In equation you can see the VFSK is Vc cos 2 pi, and here is the frequency is changing. Here delta F is using for this purpose. So mathematically we can show this by using delta F, but on the kit we are using two different frequency component. For 1 bit we have, suppose here we can see the for higher 1 volt means logic 1, we have this frequency, and for logic 0 means -1 volt, we have this frequency. So in this kit we have chosen frequency f1 and f2. However, in mathematically it is represented by the delta f. So come to the kit. This is the FSK modulator, and here you can see, you can observe, for different bit, for higher bit we have one frequency f1, and for lower we have different frequency component. So this is the FSK output. Similarly, at the demodulator side, we are using frequency component for demodulation. Then at the in each, for f1 and f2, we have integrator and summator and summation, and after passing through the threshold comparator, the output is this. So we have same output at the demodulator as we provided the data at the input of the modulator. So this is the FSK modulator and demodulator. So these are the passband technique which are used to modulate the information bits to higher frequency analog signal, because analog signal obviously pass through the antenna. Okay, thank you.
So this was all about the ASK and FSK modulation and demodulation schemes. We have done ASK modulation, ASK generation, and non-coherent detection, as well as coherent detection in this kit. We have used FSK modulation, demodulation using breadboard and on the kit as well. So I hope you have understand these two concepts. So this is over.
So Ankita, is it over?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine then. So students, hope all of you have understood these experiments, and you complete your files and submit your experiments accordingly. So thank you very much. You can leave the class now.